Good morning, everyone. Drones and coffee. Welcome in. What is it? August 14th. Man, seems like the summer is slipping by. I want to welcome everybody into Drones and Coffee and back from my little cruise. Did a little cruise last Thursday through Monday, New Orleans to Cozumel. So that was nice. Kind of got to give me a little break here from the house building and stuff like that. So kids had a great time. It was fun. Lots of food. You eat way too much on a cruise. So how's everybody doing this morning? I'll welcome in a few people here real quick. Let's see, got a lot of people in. I appreciate it. I'm kind of just going to start backwards here and roll backwards. Steve Jones, welcome in. Art, Mr. John, Flying Flynn, Northside Hawk, Brad Austin, Unlimited Vertical, Rob's in the house, Silas, Mr. Art, Steve Knowles, Jackrabbit, Scotty, Chris, had drone with fly. Yeah, Scott, what's wrong? No coffee. Joe Fotalio, welcome in. Who else we got? Mr. Rob, I said Rob. I think Max is, I'm not sure if Max is driving back already. He was at the Midwest drone meetup with Maddie. I'm hoping I'll wake Maddie's butt up here in a little bit and see how that went and catch up on all the news from that. And, got the new Devonta drone coming out, the FPV drone. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Talk about anything you want to talk about this morning. Grab you a cup of coffee. And I do want to thank Mike and Sergio for that new intro there, Drones and Coffee intro. And they're actually working on a new intro for the Fly for Fun show. So appreciate that from them. TJ, what's up? Drone photography. Yeah, so let's see. We got Mr. Brad Austin is in the house already.
Good morning.
What's up, Brad?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, my Bluetooths are working this morning. Great.
Yeah, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Just having my coffee, chillaxing, watching all the live streams this morning.
Yeah, I want to say, man, shout out to those guys, man. Paul had a great stream. Rodney, Dennis, and continued on there to Chris. Looked like the weather kind of, I don't know. It's that time of year, typical summertime, evening showers and stuff like that. We've been getting a good bit of rain, but nothing, not inches and inches. It's actually been cooling things off, kind of making a sloppy construction site that we had pretty neat, but you know how that is.
Y'all broken the 100 degree days, right? You're back in the 90s.
Yeah, we actually been in probably the high 80s and in between 80 and 90. It's been cloudy.
You've been cooler than us over here in Richmond. Richmond's been, we were in the 90s last week, but we've dropped into the 80s, looks like, for this week. So we're
look at this clown. Look at this clown here. He says he's got a headache. I guess so if you drink 3 6-packs of beer. Ken?
Man, I didn't see a whole lot of anybody doing any live streams yesterday. I kept watching.
Maddie called. Well, Maddie actually streamed. He FaceTimed me last night about, I guess it was about 10 o'clock. And I don't know, they had a lot of background noise because they were all hanging out in the hotel. And actually, he was getting his tattoo that Sergio was doing. So I think they tried to go live one time and the internet connection wasn't bad. And really, that's the only time that I really saw it. So I'm hoping that they got a lot of video and, we'll post some stuff here pretty soon.
I'm sure they had a good time. I wonder how many people were there. I know they were expecting maybe 60 plus people.
I think they had about 20 is what they said. Yeah.
Maybe not quite as many as they thought.
But they had fun. I know I talked to Maddie a couple times, just talked to him. But like I said, I think that they did actually have and I'll let Maddie tell the story because some guy, I think it was a park ranger or either some kind of rolled up and kind of gave him a hassle at first. And then I think who was there that Barkley carries a book. 107 Drones carries he was very politely went over to the police officer and kind of explained some stuff. So they got past that. The guy come out kind of swinging, was asking them for their 107s and insurance and all this kind of stuff. So, I don't really know. But it all ended up okay. And I think they just kind of did a little compromise. They had I think an AMA field very close. And I think they went and set those, they had some little, race stuff set up. So
yeah, that's cool. Well, at least they were able to talk with them and it didn't get all blown out of hand. and they didn't kick everybody out of there. It sounds like.
Yeah, and I mean, I think where they were flying was fun, and where it was fine. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if he just rolled up, or did somebody call, or and they were mostly doing FPV, which is probably a little bit different, a little noisier than say the camera drones and stuff. But
yeah,
I think it all turned out good. So to say, they end up having a good time.
Yeah, as long as you got somebody that that can be talked to, and if you're calm and just talk to them politely, I think everything would work out. And if not, then you just move on and find another spot.
Okay, Chris said it had more like 40 plus. Okay, well, when I had talked to him, that's great. And I think they had 60 names on there, so that's great. That's a great little start.
For the first year, yeah, for the first year.
Yeah, sometimes, Brad, I mean, I know, man, look, we're proud of what the South Florida thing turned out, but
yeah,
man, hey, 100 people, it's hard to keep up and try to, I don't say entertain, or man, you want to talk, and you get back in your car and you go, man, did I talk to Brad enough? Did I talk to so enough? So.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, I know when I left there, in April, I was wondering how many people I actually missed, and I tried to say hello to every single person, but it's so hard to do when you do have almost 100 people there, or 100 plus at the South Florida one. But sounds like Chicago, maybe the weather was fine, and it looked like it was. I checked the weather on the app yesterday. It looked like they had some decent weather up there, and I bet they'll have some great videos, I'm sure, will pop out this week.
Oh yeah. I'm sure Max and they did a lot of, Matty crashed his
yeah, that was before, that was on Friday, right?
Yeah. Gary.
Hey, good morning, Gary.
What's up, gentlemen? Good morning.
Good morning.
Man, you looking more like Mark Fisher every day.
I haven't seen Mark. I don't know where he's been hiding, but
yeah, I actually saw Mark go live, I think yesterday, for a few minutes. I think that was the very first time I've heard from Mark in a little bit. I have to give him a call.
Been a little quiet here lately.
I think is his mother still sick, Gary?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Mark for a little bit. I know that he pulled away from Brig Mug for a little bit to take care of his family issues. So everything kind of went quiet from there. So haven't spoken with him for a little bit anyways.
Yeah. I'm going to try to catch up to him here this week and just
always
check
sending prayers out to him and his family, his mother.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Brad, just see this guy right here. Look, let me tell you something about him. He's never going to buy a drone, but now he's got every drone that they ever make.
Well, I had to get the Mavic 3, so I was him and hawing over the Mini 3 Pro for ever since last September. First, it was going to be September, then it was going to be November, then December is going to come out and make a great Christmas present. And I have a big thing about the mini series. So finally, after I think it was April, whatever, finally my wife just said, you know what, I'm going to buy you the Mavic 3. Thank God for great life. So she bought me that, and as soon as I bought it, the Mini 3 comes out. So I've been watching all the updates, and finally, I just said yesterday, I said, screw it, I can't take it no more. She says, fine, I'll buy you that one too. I have the best wife in the world.
Al, good morning.
What's up, guys? Hey, Al, good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
Looks like you had
yesterday. Hey, Al, I got to tell you something, man. Look, when I met Captain Ray, I said, I'll never meet anybody that likes to fly or does enjoys life more than Ray, but I think I met him because he gets out there and flies every morning almost.
Yeah, since I retired, this is all I do. I was out on my boat the other day, and I lost reverse first in the morning when I was pulling out of the dock.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I made the day of it, and then we got back to the dock, and I lost forward. So, but we had a good day all in all. But normally I fly every morning. I was out this morning at 5:30 over at Deerfield Pier. The wife kicks me out early in the morning, so it's good. She says, you spent all these money on drones, you better start using them.
Yeah,
that's what you call a good wife right there.
Sometimes when you're sitting around where I keep all my drones, it's like, man, I haven't flown this one in a while. And then you start looking and, man, do I need to sell that one? But, it does. But it's a fun hobby. And every drone, I know people ask me, like, why do you have 5 drones or 6 drones? Well, they all fly a little bit different. They all do something a little different.
Exactly.
Yeah, why do you have them? It's because you can.
Exactly. I like that answer, Brad.
Johnny, that's pretty cool.
I used to be a big collector of all the drones, but I kind of tamed it down a little bit. I still have my Mavic Pro. That was the very first DJI product I bought. Haven't flown it in probably a year, but currently I have the Air 2S, the Mini 2, and the Mini 3 Pro. So that's my
Steve Jones. Yeah, you're right. We do. You know, I think it's just fun having and flying. I mean, yesterday evening I hadn't flew to V-Cop in about a week, and so I put it up. And man, that thing is just so unique and so fun to fly. But you know, it's not the best camera drone, but hey, it's
You were filming that with what, the Mini? You were filming that with the Mini, right?
Yeah, I put the Mini 3 up. Well, I had Laney. Laney was here, so I let her do the Mini 3. You know, I did the
another pilot
V-Cop.
in control and command.
Well, yeah,
right?
you can't have two drones up.
Right,
you know?
right. Now I just wanted to call that out.
Brad, I have a question for you. On the Air 2S, right? It has the LED lights. I do not really a lot of light flying, but they have the brightest LED lights on that. How's the Mini 3? Is that really bright at night? Because I don't. There's not
if
a
I
drone
remember right,
I
I think it's the same. I think it is. I don't know if I've flown it. You know what? I don't even know, Greg, if I've even flown that thing and turned it on yet. As far as the light on the Mini 3. Huh?
Yeah. There's no LED lights that compared to the Air 2S. That's the brightest thing that I've seen. I've had it out 2 miles at nighttime, and you can still see it. It's like
you talking about the light on the bottom?
Yeah.
No, just the regular LED lights around the wings.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
the regular navigation lights.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's to me. It doesn't seem as bright on that Mini 3, but
yeah.
Well,
during the daytime, it doesn't seem as bright to me. I haven't flown it at dusk or dawn or dark. So
Joe is asking, will the Devonta be compatible with the Virgin 2? Yeah, as far as I know, that was the latest thing that we said. The Virgin 2 goggles will work with that new drone, is what they said.
Oh, that's cool. I got the V2 goggles.
So.
So maybe they'll be selling. I wonder if they're going to, DJI probably won't sell the drone by itself right in the beginning. You know how they are.
Well, I think, yeah, you're right, Brad. But there is, I know Maddie texted me something, or somebody put it up. Yeah, they are supposed to, but like you say, at first they may not,
Right. It'll be combo kits right in the beginning, or at least, with the goggles. Yep.
Yeah, John. Yeah, and John says the same thing. I don't think they're near as bright to me as on the Air 2S, but
and I think that's representative of the size, right? Because I don't know. I would think on the Mini they would be a little bit smaller.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. And probably, the size of that lens on that little Mini, it's just enough to,
I have to test that though. That's a good question. I've got both of those drones, so maybe
Dre must be working out, huh? It's about 4 o'clock in the morning in California. What time is it?
I thought for sure the Mavic 3 would have the brightest lights for those, just the LED lights, but they're not. You can't even see them a couple hundred feet away.
So the Air 2S is brighter than the Mavic 3, huh?
Oh, absolutely, all day, absolutely.
Huh. That's interesting. Very interesting. You would think the 3 would have been brighter than the Air 2S, actually.
How's the weather around the country? People, right? Is it? I mean, it seems a little cooler already. I know it may just be my mind, but in the mornings it seems like it's been a little cooler. So how's the weather?
It's been hot as
balls.
Hot
down here.
Hot.
Go ahead, Al. Sorry.
I'm going. Yeah, it's still hot down here. It was like 87, 88 degrees this morning when I left.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Humidity, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Well, what about you, Greg? What'd you say? What was that?
No, it's been hot as balls up here in Boston. It's been up in the 90s, and we woke up this morning. I think it was 58. It was nice and crisp. Finally.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's nice.
I think here in Richmond. Here in Richmond this morning, we're in the 60s earlier, and nice, and the dew, a little moist out there, humidity, I guess. But my wife just went for a walk. I got to go later, so I walked yesterday 4 miles and didn't hardly even break a sweat. So it's cooler. And we're supposed to be in the 80s this week, so that's a drop from the 90s last week.
I know all I want to do is get through about the next 30, 40 days through this hurricane crap,
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
I mean, it's been a very they said, kind of redid the numbers, and it's been really, really quiet. So, hey, hope we can keep it that way.
That's scary when it's like that.
Yeah, it's quiet before the storm, right?
Yeah.
You don't want it. You don't want it.
All I know is, hey, I'm 65, and it can't be no worse than what was last year. So that's kind of what you have to look at it. Well, I know it can be worse, but it hadn't been worse since I've been alive.
Something to be said. You've been there all your life, and that was the worst one. Hopefully, another one.
Hey guys, were y'all watching? Who was on last night? Adrian. Did y'all see that Paul Wedgenbig Brown's got a speeding ticket with his FPV drone?
What?
He got a speeding ticket?
Are you kidding me?
No, really, and Dre's in here, and Dre was on there. Like, yeah, the guy came up to him. I think he was flying at Lake George, which is a pretty. I mean, I've been up there on a motorcycle. Beautiful place. It's kind of a resort type lake, and now I don't know. There's always two sides to every story.
Yeah.
The whoever, I'm not sure if it was a police officer or a on a boat type thing or whatever, but the guy basically said I think he cited him for going 90 miles an hour. Now, I have no idea how he knew he was going 90 miles an hour in kind of like reckless operation. So, there's always two sides.
I could see that being written up, but not a speeding ticket. That's it's not a land-based vehicle, so they can't really do it.
Yeah, no shit.
That's air, so they.
But
can't
the reckless operation part, could cause some problems. I mean, but now listen, that's all I know is what Paul was saying. And at first, when he first typed it, of course, Adrian thought he was, like joking. How do you get a speeding ticket?
Yeah, probably the reckless thing I could see.
But I'm waiting for the punchline out of Johnny.
No, it's not. No, it's for real. I mean,
I missed the live stream.
Steve Jones is in here. I think.
Johnny, I'm about to jump off.
Al.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. I want to give props to Bobby Gray, man. These key tags work awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I'm still waiting on mine to arrive. Everybody else I haven't gotten mine yet.
What the hell are those for?
Hey, Al, I'm going to send you mine with all the people you're applying. Just let them scan mine instead of yours.
We'll tell you about it, Greg, here in just a minute.
All right, guys, you have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Al's a guest. He's a guest in 2 weeks on a Fly for Fun show, so y'all have to tune in.
I got to set my recorder for that one.
Yeah, Dre, you're right. Yeah, it says actual violation, and that's the part that I know Dre was on. I think Tom popped on. I'm wearing Tom's shirt here, but I mean, I understand the statutes and stuff that they could have wrote, but yeah, that's those drones. I mean, I'm not really an FPV pilot. I know I love the drones. I love to watch those, but those drones are very I don't say very intrusive, but they make some noise. They draw some attention. So if you're flying anywhere kind of low and buzzing, I mean, you might get people to, I mean, it's more apt to call in on that than it would be a Mini 3 flying around or something.
Makes me wonder, though, how did he define reckless operations? Even if the drone's going 90 miles an hour, that's not necessarily reckless. But I guess, like you said, there's two sides to the story. We don't know the other side.
Yeah, but how can you? It's FAA regulations. I mean, you can't stop a 747 from doing 750 guys. So how are you going to fight that?
Right. I think the 100-mile-an-hour thing is the limit for an unmanned aircraft, right? A UAV.
But it can't go to more than 100. Yeah, 99.9. But here's the deal. Anybody could. I mean, listen, a state trooper or anybody could pull up behind you and say, "Hey, you're swerving," or and I mean, I'm not saying what they call reckless. I mean, listen, I passed a state trooper about 2 months ago. I was going to Baton Rouge. This sucker was like all over the road because he's typing on his computer. So and I understand he might have been doing some work, but it's if you were doing that, and I understand that we all have a job to do, and that's how they communicate, But that part, and the only thing that scares me, of course, Dre, I don't know if you could pop on. You're welcome to. I'll put the link in the chat. But that's a very, with this remote ID stuff coming, I think they're bringing it to the forefront more than I think just more people. I think the remote ID is going to cause more problems myself, just because that people can just call, or either maybe they can pull that up on an app,
I agree.
Man, hey, do you know what time it is?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. I think it's a little after 5 this morning. I'm about to head out to a job in Riverside, California in about another half an hour or so.
Okay. Well, welcome in. Thanks for joining us this morning. I know when I saw you pop in, I said, man, it's early.
Yeah, very early. Last 2 days I was up at 4 at the job site in Beaumont, California, which is en route to Palm Springs. I was out there at 6 a.m. First flight took off at around 6:30. Got to get out because we had talk about weather. We've been over 100 degrees out here for the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Every day,
Hey,
been over 100 degrees. So,
Come on,
getting on the topic at hand.
Yeah, Dre, and wait, not to stop you, but I know y'all talked about that in depth last night, and now that I say you slept on it a little bit, and I was kind of thinking about it this morning. And listen, I think you'll probably agree. I mean, the speeding part. I mean, he might as well put 150 on there as 10 miles an hour, but the reckless operation part could be more of a little problem,
Right. Paul sent me a photo of the actual summons. He was not just issued a ticket; he was issued a summons to appear.
Right?
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And that's the critical part about me advising him to show up and fight this.
Right.
Based upon the events that took place there. Like I said, we don't have all the detailed information. The only thing we got was he was flying at very low altitude. He said he was just above the water line, and he was zooming past. He didn't mention about passing any boats or any other people who may have been on the water also. But he felt, because he was in control of the sticks and all this kind of stuff, that he felt he was operating safely. Now, like I say, when you talk about reckless activities or endangerment,
right,
there is a threshold of that. I'm digging back in my law enforcement and legal, days 30 years ago. That anytime you may have, like I said, it could have been complaints from other people who called the officer, and with a little bit of information Paul gave, it's not that he didn't give a lot of information, but he did say the officer was on a boat out in the water. So the officer did possibly have firsthand knowledge of what was taking place or how Paul was flying.
And that's what I'm thinking. He may have first-handly saw it, or maybe another boat said, "Hey, there's a drone buzzing our boats." And then listen, I don't know, and I'm like you, and I know I've been up there. We took a motorcycle trip. That's there's not one or two people on that lake.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. We don't know all the other particulars that come into play when you're citing a section as far as reckless endangerment or reckless activities. That all could have been a factor in the officer's decision. The only thing I can really go on is Paul's interaction when the officer engaged him. Because it wasn't like a quick little stop. Let me see your license, proof of insurance, blah blah blah. Here's your ticket. Have a good day. This occurred probably was about a 45-minute interaction, and Paul said that the guy, once he got his ID, the guy took about another 20-30 minutes before he returned with the summons, and so that just tells me this guy was either in deep conversation with someone else back at the station or whatever the case is, to get some guidance on what he wanted to cite Paul for. Like I said, the speeding, like I said, I've been to we call it speed estimation class. There is no such thing as a radar class, whatever it's called, speed estimation for my days back then. And you have to be an advanced officer, which means you got to have at least several years on before you even take that class. And basically it qualifies you, one, to operate a radar. Two, you don't testify to the radar, you testify to your own ability to estimate speed. And you're trained to use fixed objects, telephone poles, light poles, even between buildings, to see how much time it took you to get from point A to point B. Right, you do the second count. That's why I was trained back in the day. So that part, 90 miles per hour, all that kind of stuff, that goes out the window, because I know anybody else who's been in law enforcement, I think Steve's in here, knows that you are not trained to be able to estimate the speed of boats, aircraft, and all this kind of stuff. And as I told Paul last night, I said, you use the regulations to assist you, but you also got to make sure it also restricts you. So you use the regulations that we are pilots, you use the regulations that is an aircraft, and that someone as a normal officer on the ground enforcing laws, local community, whatever, municipal laws, state laws, whatever, does not have the training to do speed estimation on an aircraft, because he cannot tell me under oath to say how fast does a Cessna fly compared to a drone flies, compared to a 747 flies.
Right.
Okay. He has no training to be able to gauge those different type of aircraft. They're out there. Same thing if it's a paraglider. How fast was he traveling? So that's right there. But when he showed me the summons, pretty much after Agent show up or towards the end of it, that the speeding part was part of the conversation. it was not part of the actual summons that was written
Right.
down. The summons actually said that it was reckless operations. That opens up to a wide spectrum or gamut of things. Okay.
So Dre, the question I have is: he more apt, or not just him, but are we more apt to get that ticket with that FPV drone than we are with a camera drone?
Absolutely.
Well, it's going to be a combination of both. I mean, this is not so much about the type of drone you fly; it's about what law
the manner in which you're flying it.
It's going to be about what law enforcement is going to be asked to do, as far as enforcing these regulations on behalf of the FAA.
Yeah. And I mean that's the thing, and I don't throw anybody under the bus because we don't know the story, but to me, if you are, I mean, listen, FPV guys that fly in a park, and I'm not saying they're flying over people's heads and all that, but it's a different type of flying. So and that drone is very, very noisy. Even if you're on a boat, you see that thing buzzing by you, you might be concerned, but but we don't know that. So yeah, it's a interesting story and how it's going to turn out.
Right, and that's why I told him that this is where your flight logs can either save you or it can bury you. If you felt what you were doing was all legitimate, legal, safe flying, your flight logs can save you, because the flight log is going to be the hardcore evidence, not the officer's opinion or interpretation. And the same thing with your opinions and interpretations of what you were or were not doing. The flight log is going to give you your telemetry, which is going to be your speed, your altitude, all this kind of stuff. Can't run from that. So if he felt he was operating safely, the flight logs will back him up, and that will stand up in court. Simple as that. But my thing is, my main concern was not for him about his flying or anything else. He was talking about he didn't want to return to the state of New York for this. I said, you had a summons.
And that's what they want, right?
Right. I said, you have a summons. That means you already have a court date. You have a court date to appear. So if you fail to appear, you're going to get issued a bench warrant in your name for failure to appear. And I said, you don't want to have that hang over your head, and then you forget about it years down the road, and you should be dilly-bopping across the northern tip of New York from Connecticut, and you get pulled over, and guess what? They're going to hook you up. As soon as they run your information, they're going to hook you up and say, oh, you got a failure to warrant for your arrest.
So, Dre, can he pay that ticket without going, or does he?
Basically, the only thing, he has two options. Either he appears or he has a lawyer appear in his name. That's it. When you get a summons, and like I say, Tom kind of threw out the essay. This is not a misdemeanor, not just a citation of a ticket. This is a misdemeanor offense in the state of New York. So I mean, that's why I said they gave you a summons to appear. So as I say, it would go down a more serious offense by him not showing up. And that's why I told him this is the critical part I'm concerned with, his well-being, his family's well-being, that you don't want something like this hanging over your head.
Right. And Unlimited Vertigo says, but that's probably, this was a DJI FPV drone, so he's got all the flight data. On a regular low FPV drone, yes, you wouldn't have that. So
now, do the local police actually have that authority to write you a ticket for reckless flying? I thought that was FAA. I didn't know that was local jurisdiction for Lake George.
Well, that's going to be the other aspect of it. Each state, county, whatever, can have different, not different overall laws. All laws got to comply with the constitutional effect of it, but reckless endangerment is going to have several factors. It's going to be on the opposite. My thing is, if he's flying on the water, were there other people there that were avoiding him or avoiding the drone because of fearful interaction with it? As far as, in other words, people had to do different maneuvers to avoid what he was doing. That can be considered reckless, because the drone is not naturally in that environment as far as right above the water.
He could have got the same summons on a jet ski or whatever.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It could have been the same summons. Somebody was doing some kind of crazy stuff on a jet ski, interfering with the normal boating ways on the water. So that's it. Without having that additional information, it's hard to say. And that's why my thing is that, regardless of what he was or wasn't doing, my concern is about the notice to appear in court. Like I said, bring your flight logs, bring all the FAA regulations to justify what you're doing. Who has the authority to regulate the airspace and everything else. I always tell people, I said, once you leave the ground, you are in airspace.
Morning, New England.
That could be a factor in his favor.
Dre, yeah, it could, but Dre, one question. I mean, the speed thing, but 1 inch over the water or 399.9 feet over the water, if it is legal. So I mean, it's the reckless operation, that it's kind of his word against that guy's word,
Right, and that's why I said the flight laws could help you out to show his actual. I mean, Paul said, "Yeah, I was skimming the water." I said, "Well, skimming the water for you might be one altitude. Skimming the water for him might be another." Right. I know for me, I'm not going to get probably under I would be at least 10 feet and above. I'm flying over water because I don't want. One thing I tell people: don't believe the Earth is flat. Okay, right. When you're flying, the Earth is not flat. So
what?
When you make
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Right,
wait. Hang on.
And I tell people all the
time.
Joe
lives in the mountains.
Yeah, like I said, I tell people all the time. I said, you'd be surprised why we lose signal and all this kind of stuff, especially when we get out there a little bit. I said because the Earth is kind of curved, and that's why you lose signal far out, whatever. Because the drone is not actually flying on a flat plane. It is actually curving over the Earth. And that's why you get a drop signal sometimes, and sometimes it's not even that far away. You get a drop signal because it's a curvature. That's why I tell people find the highest altitude wherever you're flying at. Find the highest spot. Take off from that spot. That way you're able to maintain signal for wherever your whole flight.
Michael Blade, welcome in.
Hey, Michael.
Joe,
that's why I say
last night.
This is the little tidbits I throw out there about people flying. I said, well, don't fly in a hole. Don't be below everything else that you're around because you're liable to lose signal behind trees, buildings, all this kind of stuff because there's so many things that block our signal. So getting back to the topic at hand, if you're skimming the water at about a foot or two off the water, well, once again, if people who are out there boating or jet skiing, whatever, now you're kind of in their area, and that's why I can say you might be in the air, but you're down in their area, and they see you, and they have to take we call term I'm looking for, basically actions to avoid you because of the amount because of how fast that drone can fly. Not to say he was speeding past the limits because there is no limits for us for the 100 miles per hour part.
Yeah,
but. Like I say, even at 60 miles per hour, that is a lot more faster than anything that's in the water. So if something's coming past you at 60, 70 miles per hour at the same level that you're boating out there, it's going to make a lot of folks uneasy. So like I said, we don't know if the officer was contacted from complaints from other boaters or other people out on the water. We don't know.
Well, Steve Jones is in it. Steve, I don't know if you can hop in. You're a police officer. I don't know if you want to hop in. He's actually a drone.
Trey, I have a question for you. My wife and I went down to Plymouth, Massachusetts, and we were down there at the fireworks, and there was a helicopter. He couldn't have been any more than 200 feet above the water, and I don't know if it was a sightseeing tour, but the place was crowded. There must have been 10,000 people down there watching the fireworks, and this asshole, the only thing I can describe it as, he's like buzzing around and he's flying. How come he doesn't get a ticket, but a guy with an FPV drone? I've flown with Paul many times. He's a great pilot. That makes no sense. I think the FAA should have gave this clown up in the helicopter. Where's the restrictions? What's the guideline? I mean, what is the criteria?
And that is a good question. Because like I say, one thing, no officer on the ground is going to be able to sight a helicopter because we don't know where the helicopter came from. Next thing is anybody can call the FAA if they see somebody flying, they feel unsafe because that's why we all have tail numbers on our fixed aircraft. So it would not stop you, Paul, anybody else on that beach to get that tail number, call into FAA and says, this is what I observed. You guys need to contact this pilot for whatever possible violations, if not any violations.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you go to a Blue Angel show, they're flying recklessly.
Yeah. Oh,
well, like I say, that's all sanctioned. They give their flight plans to the FAA in advance. The TRFs are put up in advance because they know this is that type of show, and that's what I'm saying. That and that's why I told people last night. I said, when you're out flying, regardless if you're recreational or commercial, it's always in your benefit to have, if you're recreational, even commercial, have your trust card on you. If you're commercial, have your Part 107 certificate on you. Have your registration card in your bag where your drone is at, and anything else. Basically, what I'm trying to say is anything that gives you credibility on you and your skill set flying that drone. So when you're approached by another citizen, you're approached by a law enforcement officer, you say, officer, here's my trust card, flying that. Here's my Part 107 card. Here's my drone registration. Not that proves that you're absolutely right, but it shows that you have taken the necessary steps to be a proven flyer. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we all know.
Barry says somebody called him, and it seems like, I mean, I know we've been doing this for a while now, but it seems like this is happening a little bit more. And I don't know, it's probably a number of drones in the air, and I guess where you're flying.
Right.
You know,
and the FAA's got to react on every single call. It doesn't matter what it is; they've got to react to it, and that's kind of fortunate and unfortunate all at the same time, right?
Yeah, and like I was saying, that this, if you get into a confrontation or verbal dispute, whatever we want to call it, this gives you credibility by having all your paperwork on hand. Because the person who walks up to you won't have nothing. He's not walking around with an FAA Part 107 rule book in his back pocket. He's going to have to call somebody. Like in this impulse situation, the guy had to go call somebody and find out what was the best statute to charge him with. Like you said, the guy talked about speeding, but whoever he talked to told him, no, you can't write him for that.
Dre, did he ever say, I mean, I tried to ask, I think he got off, but did he ever say, did the guy say somebody called on him or I mean, usually the police officer let you know, like usually when they usually tell you, hey, I got a call.
Right. There's been a complaint or something, right?
That's what I'm saying. That tidbit information didn't get brought out in discussion amongst some other details, which can make this whole case flip on its head about what occurred. I just noticed, I picked up a little bit what Paul did said, and Paul went into it. My next point was Paul said he tried to educate the guy. I said the first part of education, somebody or whatever it is in life, when somebody's trying to tell you something or teach you something, the first thing you have to believe in, what's their credibility to be able to tell you something.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying about having all of your documentation in your hand.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When we all get our driver's license, we got trained by somebody who's already a driver. Okay. When we go to the doctor, I don't know about you, but I always look on the wall, look for that little certificate. And I wish it had a number of where you graduated in class at. And stuff. But these are little things that we go to other people who we value as professionals, and they have to validate that they are a professional or at least has a credibility standing within what they are trying to do to you or teach you about.
Oh, it's creepy. So
that's why I was saying that, it might have been better before Paul tried to address the rules and regulations with the officer to say, okay, this is my trust card, this is this, this is that, before the conversation even started. So the officer would have knew that, okay, Paul has been trained. He probably does have a good handle on what was taking place or whatever. And it could have been simple. Hey, you know what? I observed some things, but evidently you've been trained. You passed some tests. You gotten some information. Your stuff is registered. Yada yada yada, all that kind of stuff. And says, okay, just be a little careful. Maybe fly a little higher. Have a good day, sir. So we all know. Go ahead, Johnny.
Great, but that's interesting. And this might be a stupid question, but did he have to write him a ticket instead of giving him a warning? I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. Not by law, any officer has to cite you. Whatever the case may be, traffic violation, whatever. That's what we call working within the spirit of the law.
Sure.
Okay. And a lot of times it comes down to the interaction with the individual. Okay. An officer, 9 times out of 10, sometimes they like the guys Maddie jumped on last night and talked about this guy who hopped out of his car. He was all Barney Fife ready to go. He told him right off the bat, hey, I got my body camera on. You guys better stop flying. I'm writing tickets and yada, yada, yada. He's already ready to go. So at that point, somebody else with a cooler head broke out the FAA guidebook, start going through all the different paperwork.
Yeah, Barkley, 107.
Like I said, Barkley got on there and said, okay, Barkley showed credibility, okay, by him having the rule book right there. And that's what I'm saying about having all your paperwork in hand. Having all your rule book right there, and the guy was asking, telling Matt, you guys better show me insurance. I said, there's no requirement to show proof of insurance. It's not a requirement to even have insurance when you're flying a drone. Okay, so it's like I said. So basically, Barkley talked the guy down from what his first initial intentions were by showing him the rule book and said, okay, everything you just said, let's go over it in the rule book. So in other words, when you have a certain set amount of facts, you can't run from that. The officer couldn't run from that. And that's what I'm saying with Paul's interaction with the officer. Paul should have established himself as one who was very knowledgeable and credible in what was going on with the drone itself. Show your documentation. Show your trust, your 107. If you're flying like me, I have a COA. I show that information. I show my drone is registered. That card is always in my bag with my drones. Each one of my drones I have, all that stuff. So basically, it shows me of having credibility as an individual that I should know what I'm doing because I went through all these different steps.
Yeah, and you could look at it two ways. The guy, the police officer on the phone with maybe his superior officer or something. Right. Is he asking that guy, should I write this guy something, or is he asking what to write? You know,
that's most likely he's asking what to write. Good supervisors, and since Captain Ray Kelly's here, will tell you they unless it's something egregious, then you're forced to write, cite, taken into custody, whatever. But many times it is up to the discretion of the officer on site. You are the person there. You are the one who observed or one who's gotten information to investigate the activities that are taking place. And it'll be up to you. And like I say, 9 times out of 10, it's all about establishing credibility. And that's the same thing will happen in court.
Right.
Establishing credibility for the judge to decide one way or another.
Morning, Captain Ray.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
I don't
Johnny,
know.
Brad, Joe.
Ray, I don't know if you.
Come on, Captain.
Ray, I don't know if you caught what was happening. Paul Wedgenberg got a ticket for reckless operation and something yesterday. So we're talking about that.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah, up at Lake George, upstate New York, up there. Yeah. So he was on Adrian's show talking about last night. So that's
okay.
Cap might be the expert. I'm not on top of all the regulations. I'm sure Ray's pretty familiar with Lake George. I hear it's a pretty popular resort area. Ray?
It is. I haven't been there in quite a while now, but yeah, it's a very, very popular tourist area. Great fishing up there. Hey, Gary, how you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I filmed a TV show up there one time, and very very popular.
Max, New York.
So that's what Tom was adding to, and a few others who live in that area were saying about the being a very much popular tourist location, and and there's this debate of why Paul was cited and the authority of the officer to write the summons. He was given a summons to appear, Cap, not just a ticket. He was given a summons.
Driving?
No, he was operating. He was operating
a drone. You mean
flying a DJI FPV drone, and the officer. The conversation was about the amount of speed he was operating the drone at a very low altitude. He was just about, I think in his own words, he said he's about maybe within about a couple feet of the water when he was flying.
So a summons to appear in court, Dre, would be it's the severity of the fine, right, of the offense.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, okay. It can be. You can be summoned in court depending upon the local court docket, as far as a certain thing, but also goes on what certain activities that you are. Like I say, reckless endangerment, which is usually the legal term that we use, is more severe than just speeding. So that's why
how much that ticket's going to be for.
Like I say, it's not going to be a cheap one. That's why I say he needs to fight it. And him saying, "I'm not coming back to the court to fight." I said, "Dude, you're risking a bench warrant."
Ron Lockwood, welcome in.
Good morning, Ron Lockwood.
That's what. Hey, what's up, Ron? So that's what I told him. That's why I said, regardless of what the activity was, whatever, you don't want a bench warrant hanging over your head, no matter what.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Interesting question there by Rona. What do you think about that? Do you guys think that more types of these tickets are going to be in the news once remote ID is live?
I think there's the potential of these type of tickets, and that's why I always say that we need to always conduct ourselves in the mindset of pilots, because like I tell people, according to FAA, they classify us as pilots, and that's why I say the safety operation, all this kind of stuff, because we're going to be judged on all the restrictions of a pilot. I mean, we all want to enjoy the privileges and protections of a pilot. We don't want nobody bothering us when we fly. We don't want nobody interfering with us when we fly. So we want to say, okay, you were interfering with me. You were harassing me, whatever. I want those protections as a pilot. Okay. That's given to us as a pilot under the FAA regulation. But the same thing, we have to make sure we are operating under the restrictions as a pilot.
You have to act like a pilot. Yeah.
There you go. And that's why I say it's critical about what we do, so we can get both sides of that fence, the protections and the restrictions.
Well, I'm sorry I missed the beginning of this. It sounds like it was very interesting.
Joe,
Yeah.
Joe, you're 107, right?
I'm sorry, you talking to me?
Oh, you 107, Joe?
I'm not yet.
Okay,
Studying for it.
I thought you
Will be
were.
soon.
Yeah, Cap. We thought last night when he popped in that he was just joking with us, because this is the first time I've ever heard anybody getting an actual summons, especially for reckless, operations.
And he was flying over the water at the time, or
over the water, over this lake.
What?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't know the details of what was going on. He says that he was flying, he had control of the sticks, but like I say, it's always the details that people leave out that can make the difference in the whole story. The officer himself, what Paul relayed in the chat last night, was that the officer was on the water on a boat. So that I have to connect the dots on that and say, okay, the officer had firsthand knowledge, observed the activities what Paul was doing. And you and I both know if he starts to impact the operations of the boats on the water, jet skis, and whatever else, yes, that can be interpreted as reckless operations, because now you are impacting others. And you're flying at that low level that you're actually in their navigational space themselves. And that's why I say, exactly. just like on a car, we can't weave all over the highway, because now we're impacting everybody else, even though you might be a professional race car driver, but you cannot drive where it impacts everybody else on the road. And the same thing with boating. Right. And you're out there in a boat, there are certain rules and regulations when you operate a boat about how you're supposed to give way on one side or the other when you're approaching another boat. And the same thing with jet skiers, in which they usually get in trouble for stuff like this out there in the water. So yes, the reckless part would be the most appropriate, I would see, statute to address this with. I knew the speed part was not going to hold water, but the reckless part could, if Paul was actually interfering with the navigations of those on the water.
Dre, and a question I have is, I'm not sure if Paul is he 107? Do you know?
No, I don't think he
so.
Is. Yeah.
So and not to jump way back or way ahead, but I know some people in the chat were saying get in touch with Ryan Latoriette and all that already. But let me tell you something, that could also work backwards from the FAA, because he posts stuff, and so I don't. You got to be very careful here.
Well, that's what I was saying about his flight logs. I mean, I go and take what Paul said at face value. And that's why I said your flight logs will be the hardcore evidence in all of this of what you were doing and what you were not doing. It's going to show all your telemetry. It'll show in waypoints of all your different, I was at this altitude, I was at this speed, all this kind of stuff. So that's why I'm saying that, that's going to be the standard of facts in the court of what your telemetry says. And that's not arguable. This is what your flight records pull. And lucky that he was flying a DJI type drone, FPV would be, because it does have flight logs. I guess somebody here said that in the chat, regular FPVs don't have flight logs, but the DJI one does.
Right.
So that gives you a baseline of facts, and not just the observation or opinion of an officer who is not basically trained on what aircraft can do. Like these just why I said, Blue Angels come in, everything they do is sanctioned, beforehand, cleared through the FAA beforehand, but accidents do happen.
Yeah, Mike Rennick, I got it up on the screen. That's what we talked about. He could have got the same ticket on a jet ski or on a even a paddle board. If you're acting crazy, I mean, I mean, we're taking it because it's a drone, but also, I mean, listen. We don't know, and it's probably going to come down between the police officer and him. But
and I know the FPV guys are going to not like this, but I bet you he was flying his FPV drone and not
it was
his
a DJI FPV,
correct?
Right, he was driving his DJI FPV drone, and that's what I'm saying, that he pulling the telemetry off of that is going to set the standard of facts in court.
All right, Captain Ray, you're in charge. I'm going to get more coffee.
All right, I got mine right here, Johnny.
Well, that's kind of a hard thing to do when they're saying that he's flying with endangerment, because, I mean, if he's flying 2 or 4 feet above the water, God knows you can't see a boat coming either way, but God forbid he'll use the prop and that thing goes flying at 90 miles an hour. You can kill somebody. It would take 2 seconds to have somebody get bonked in the head. But, I mean, as drone pilots, I mean, what's the fine line to where they say endangerment to actually enjoying your flying? You know what I mean? It's such a gray area.
Well, like I say, it's not about him flying even at that altitude. It's about the surrounding individuals or other elements around him. That's what makes it endangered, reckless part. Like I say, if he was the only one on the water, nothing
by
would
himself,
be
nothing would have happened.
Nothing would have happened. It's
true.
the fact that, like I said, like drive on the road. If you're impacting other drivers, other participants on the roadway, that is where the reckless and endangerment part comes in. It's not about you doing other things.
Well, like I say, you can't fly over people unless you have, your props, your 107, and you run at 249. But if you're flying, you can't control a boat from going underneath your drone. So, it's
right. You're 100% correct.
Such a great area.
Yeah, like I said, the boats don't know the drone regulations, but we are supposed to know. We're the pilots. We are supposed to know. So, like I say, we're supposed to know. You don't fly over people. You don't fly over moving vehicles. That's why the word vehicles is used and not just cars, because vehicles can be any other type of
That's a good point, Dre. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I guess that's why a vehicle can be a boat, can be jet skis, and like I say, they're in open. Most boats and all that said don't have hard tops. Okay, you got something people are out in the open, just like jet skis don't have no protection. Like you say, if something happens that drone conks somebody in the head, then who knows the domino effect of what that can cause.
I'm going to get you on speed dial in case I get an FAA question.
Well, I can tell you, I look at this from a legal standpoint of, my standing to be a legal officer in the military, police officer, and all the things I've done in my life. So that's why I don't look at this just from a pilot perspective. I look at it from a legal perspective, and this is what's going to be the factors that are going to come out in court. And like I said, regardless of what the outcome may be, my concern is him going back and showing up for this court appearance, because his attitude last night was, "I'm not going back for this." He think it's just like a regular parking ticket. I said, no, a summons to appear is a lot more serious than just a parking
Unfortunately,
citation.
when you get endangerment, that's going to be some serious. Even a cop gives you a ticket for driving to endanger. That's going to be $1,000 ticket. If he's lucky, he gets away with it.
Yeah.
Well, he should get a good attorney. That's the bottom line. He should get a good attorney, and he should fight it. A drone attorney, obviously.
My personal opinion, I think we should all drive to New York and fly with Ray at one of his secret spots. That way nobody can screw with us.
Actually, I was going to fly this morning. Then I said, let me watch Johnny a little bit first. Yeah.
I'm on my way out myself, Ray. I go do a job here, and I'll be back. It's a short one, but
that was an interesting topic for sure. I'm glad. I know. I wish we. It's definitely a strange ticket, but hey,
hey, good morning, Kai, Lone Star UAV.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's one of those rarity moments that can become more. I want to say normal, because anytime you get a ticket, I don't care what you're operating, boat, train, plane, whatever, it's always rare. We talk about people getting citations and stuff, but for the amount of miles that are driven on our roads and highways daily, getting stopped by officers is still a rare event.
Kai, welcome in, Kai.
Rare. There's so many other things going on out there. They don't have time to mess with a lot of folks on the highways, especially.
Well, obviously, I would think somebody complained. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we never could. What I say, Paul got on before we.
Well, they were on the water, so they had firsthand, visual of this whole situation. It sounds like.
Yeah, and
maybe he buzzed them.
Well, that could have been. I can say, Cap, could have been.
True.
And I said they could have been the water because they did get a complaint of something on the water that was, buzzing around, and they went out to investigate what it was, and they said, okay, now we see what it is, and like I said, they were able to locate Paul. Like I say, FPV drone only flies about 10-12 minutes tops before you got to bring it back, switch batteries. So that was pretty quick work on their part to be able to observe the drone, what it was doing, and locate him, because I don't know what the range distance on the DJI FPV drone, but I'm sure within a quarter of a mile or whatever for you to actually be.
I guess at this point there's a lot of speculation, right?
Yeah, like I say, we didn't get all the real, I would say, the crunchy details that can, like I say, explain some of the holes that are missing. But like I say, my concern is about him going back and appearing that he needs to do more anything else.
And on a brighter note, Paul is an incredible pilot. He flies.
Yes.
I love his videos.
Yes, he is.
He is a great pilot.
Incorporates FPV with GPS, and his editing, is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Great editing, yeah.
Yes, and that's why I said, for all the hard work he puts in, I don't want to
Well,
see him blow
Well, I'll
this
tell
off.
you, it's going to be interesting to see this video when he edits it. If he
Well,
posts
if he even posted because of the
Well,
situation,
that video could be really good for him or
or
really bad for him.
detrimental,
So.
right? Yeah.
I bet you if he had one of Johnny's lime green shirts that said Johnny Drone Flyer, I bet the cop would have just drove off and not said anything.
No,
You're right, Gary. You're right.
He'd have probably been in
Absolutely.
jail. That's where he would have been.
But like I say, it's been an interesting weekend so far. Like I said, the guys up in Chicago got approached by an officer and it was able to talk that officer off the ledge because he came out of his unit talking about how he was videotaping them and he was going to write tickets and all this kind of stuff. And like I said, it all depends how you present yourself, establish yourself in that conversation. I'm looking at Steve's comment, a professional talking to by the officer would have probably solved this problem. And like I said, you never know what the mindset of that officer is at. So that's why I talk about establishing your position as a credible pilot right off the start. So at least you both will have an ideal. Somebody knows what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And that makes it harder for the officer to write a citation for whatever reason that, okay, I'm dealing with somebody who is trained and, just tell him, okay, I got some complaints. Just maybe go down further. I know Lawrence talks about how he has to go down certain parts of the beach in New York to fly and other things that he avoids people and all these different kind of things that are going on there. And he has had interactions with the Parks Department, which I guess regulates the beaches in New York City, all this different stuff. So like I say, it's all about relationships and how you establish yourself and everything else can make the difference of getting a citation. Like I say, every person I stopped on my day, and it was all for a different reason, because when I came through, officers wind up in federal court was a big deal. So, my thing was, when I got trained, my FTOs tell me, if you take the time to stop them, take the time to scratch them, because then that'll find you in federal court if you fail to do that, because people can start getting you for civil rights violations for harassment. So don't screw with people because you want to screw with them. If you see a violation, no matter what, you write down there. I don't care if it's the dingle balls off the rearview mirror. You write them down for that.
So Dre, if he doesn't appear or whatever, will they be a ticket issued, or will that? I mean, how will that?
It would go to a bench warrant.
Then they're going to come get him.
Yeah.
Well, they won't actually come.
They wouldn't extradite him for that. That's for sure.
But if he ever got pulled over somewhere up there again,
it'll pop up. It'll pop up on somebody's screen. There's a bench for his arrest, and they will have to take him into custody at that point. They won't reissue a citation to him unless the jail is full. And I don't know if Cap ever had. I know my experience. He said I come into the briefing meeting. He said, "Hey, don't arrest nobody unless you have to, because the jail's full." And stuff. So 9 times out of 10, you get a bench warrant. Officer's going to hook you up, take you in. You might spend a couple hours there getting processed, and then kick you right back out with a new summons.
Right.
Stuff. But the inconvenience of getting taken in, which could lead to your car getting impounded, all this kind of stuff. Because now you got to pay more money to get your car out of the tow yard. All this kind. In other words, it's just a domino effect. It just one thing happens after another, after another, after another.
It's very, very unfortunate. I mean, I'm not, because flying a drone should be fun, and I'm sure it wasn't fun at that point. But like I say, it's kind of sucks. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, thanks for having me come in. Good to see you, Cap. Joe,
thank you.
Good to see you,
Brad,
Dre.
rest of you guys.
Good to see you.
And,
thanks for all your knowledge.
I got to pack up and head out and have some safe flights myself today. Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Dre.
You flying that M30?
Yes, I am taking the M30
all right,
out
man.
for its
have
first
a safe
flight today, official flight. All right. Bye-bye.
A secret
Have a good one,
location.
Dre.
All right.
Wow.
Jake's Drone Life is asking. Well, Jake's Wedging Big. Paul Brown had something up at Lake George. He was issued a summons about reckless operation. So anyway,
over water.
He was on Adrian's show last night. He had typed it in the chat, and of course, Adrian and a bunch of people thought he was playing, but it was for true. It was for real. So we'll have to keep up with that story.
Wow.
I'm interested to hear how that turns out.
Man, you're not lying, and it seemed like New York. You know, we they had a recent other case. A female pilot had a problem up there, and I think it's going to be okay. But she's been battling that for a little while, so got to be careful, guys. I don't know.
So I'm in New York. I'm up there next week in Long Island. I don't know if I want to take my drone with me now.
Bring your drone.
Bring your drone,
Brad.
I'll bring my Mini 3.
I'll bring it to some secret spots.
Uh-oh. Ray knows, he knows that where all the police officers are.
I know where they are and where they're not.
Well,
you got a good crowd in the house, Johnny. Man, I'm sorry I was late, by the way. I overslept. I was out at a concert last night.
Man, your friend Al, he was up flying while you were sleeping, Ray. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, Al, man, I give him credit. He gets up every day.
Al's popped on a show and hopped off.
He's a good guy. I like that.
Kyle was asking what happened in Chicago yesterday. So I don't know if you want to say on that, Johnny.
Yeah, well, Matty popped on last night for a few minutes on Adrian. I think the internet was bad or whatever, and he was actually getting his tattoo by Sergio. So, yeah, he says some young, I don't know if it was a park ranger or wherever they were at, or some kind of law enforcement kind of pulled up, had his camera going, and kind of stomped out the car and, wanted to see 107s. He knew about 107, wanted to see insurance cards and all of this stuff. But anyway, Barkley at 107 kind of talked him down and talked. They end up, everything worked out fine. But so, that's, now I'm not sure. I guess they were flying at a public park, and it was mostly FPV. So I'm sure it could have been a little bit of noise and stuff now. But I think they were doing some gates, and I think they made gave them an option to move over a little bit. They had an AMA field really close. So it kind of was a compromise, but nobody got rode up. Nobody had any altercation. So it all ended up very good.
I think that the general public, when they see people flying FPV, especially the non-DJI FPVs, now actually the DJI FPV is just as fast or faster in some cases. I think people get scared because they're just so fast. It's aggressive flying, but it's not out of control aggressive flying most of the time. So I think for the general public, they're scared of that, so they end up calling the police, especially if they have their family at a park or around, and they're afraid they're going to get hit. And I think that's where trouble starts for some folks.
Yeah, Max,
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Brad. I
had flown with Paul a few times down on Cape Cod. There's a place called Chatham, and it's overlooks the beach down there. And he had his FPV, and he started off slow. And there's got to be 300-400 people down there. And all of a sudden, Paul's out quite a ways, and he comes by, balls to the wall, and everybody goes.
Yeah.
It's the funniest looking thing, but yeah, it's very loud. It's quite the drone, though.
I mean, it's fascinating.
That's the only thing. We as drone pilots kind of know that's okay, but somebody else, it definitely could look reckless. And now, listen, I went on a river about a year ago. My friends, they have a boat, but right now the trend is, I don't know what I say young kids. I guess I'm getting old, but these people in their 30s and 40s have, I would say, $700,000-$800,000 cigarette boats, and they don't go 10 miles an hour.
Right.
Man, and they're all over. To me, it looks like reckless operation all over. But so that's just my point of view from that sport.
Yeah.
So and if you're in a park with your kids and you see and it could be a camera drone. I mean, listen, you could buzz by with a Mini 2 going 30 miles an hour. If you're 10 feet.
Things like that are scary to folks because it's the unknown. They don't know what it's all about, and we do. Yeah, we do.
Right. Yeah, FPV drones are so nimble that they look like they're out of control, but when you're in the goggles and with proper training, you're comfortable. You got it,
Yeah, absolutely.
But, to the untrained, it's like, that's going to hit me. So.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, do you fly FPV?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just as of recently, got the DJI FPV as a gift from my boss, actually, about 5 months ago. So I've been flying acro about 5 months.
How do you like
it? What's up? Good morning.
Love it. It's so much fun.
Yep.
Looking forward to flying around Minefield next weekend. Hope to see y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Patrick, how you doing this morning?
Well, I'm up early with you guys. The dogs woke me up. I'm kind of glad I got up. This is good stuff.
Good morning, Patrick. How you doing?
This kind of went down last night on Adrian's show, and of course Paul had to hop off, so we kind of. I mean, I woke up a couple times last night thinking about, oh my God, guys got a ticket for flying a drone, but it's always two sides to every story, and it's very interesting,
Well, I did have a question, and this is my ignorance of the FPV hobby, and I should know it since I fly with John Coopy all the time. Did Paul have a visual observer since he had those goggles on?
I mean, he had
good point. Good point.
Good point.
I know
I
he
don't
had
think
his
you
wife
mentioned it.
with him, as far as I know, but I don't
So
know.
a witness, basically, to say that he wasn't being a danger or reckless.
Yeah, we just don't know.
Just don't know, I mean, we're looking at it as, our friend got a ticket for flying a drone, but it's always a little more than that. So, we'll have to see.
I hope he's able to get out of it. That seems like a very arbitrary thing to write a ticket on.
Steve, thanks for hopping in. Steve's got to get some sleep.
Good night. Good night, Steve.
Steve.
Sweet dreams.
Right.
Max, he even did that with the POS. He got a speeding ticket with the POS. Well, it wasn't a speeding ticket, but I think the part about the 90, I think the cop said you were going 90 miles an hour, and I think maybe, I don't know if he took that literally. The guy didn't write that on a ticket, but so basically the ticket was for reckless operation. So
yeah, to Dre's point, the cops don't know. They don't know. Unless they've been trained, they don't know how fast that drone's going or any aircraft. They got to be trained properly, and then it's not a land-based vehicle, so I'm not sure. Can they give you a ticket for speeding in the air, even though it might have been an inch above the water? I think it's going to probably, just speculation, that maybe somebody on a boat was scared that they were going to get hit by a drone, so they called it in, and that's what started everything.
And Kai that's about the same as in New York, Captain Ray. What Kai wrote right there, I think it worked.
Failure to show up, you won't be able to renew your license.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, it'll red flag your license, and that's not going to be a good thing. Of course, he's in another state.
In fairness to the police officer, I would love to hear his story.
Yeah,
both sides. Yeah.
Well,
but
that cop's all shit in the air.
Well, Dre was saying too that this I don't want to call it confrontation, but the whole ordeal lasted 30-40 minutes, because this police officer must not have known all the rules and regulations and laws, so he had to call into maybe one of his superiors. So, when he first saw it, he was just like what I was speaking about earlier, like the general public. He didn't know if this person was in control of their drone. He maybe thought they were being reckless, and then speeding might have come up, but he had to make it something. You've got to, if he's going to write a ticket, he's going to write it up for what he can, I guess, especially if there's a legitimate complaint from a.
Yeah, I agree, Brad. But Brad, Joe, I asked, and since you do fly FPV, and I asked Dre, but I mean, do you think it was more apt to get that because of the FPV drone than a camera drone? I mean, is that, or just could have been the same?
Well, I mean,
thing?
I think you could fly an Air 2S a couple feet over the water at 42 miles an hour. But for FPV, I mean, it's noisy. Yeah, like you said, it's a screamer. And if it attracts 90, if you're going 90, I mean, that thing, it's a screamer. So I mean, to the untrained, person that doesn't know drones, like I said, it could be seen as reckless. But I don't know how close he was to boats, or how close he was to people, or any of that. So it's a ton of variables. But I think the fact that it was an FPV drone is probably part of it, just because it's so damn fast and loud.
Right. Exactly, Joe. Yep.
Quick reactions, up and down, in and out, all around. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and I mean the part about the speed, and listen, it's legal from 1 mile an hour to 99 miles an hour, and it's legal 1 inch above the water to 400 feet above the water. So it's all about how you was flying. I mean.
Reckless and
dangerous. Yeah, and that's why it's nothing about speed on there, but it's about reckless. So
right.
Got to see video.
John Coopy don't fly like that, right, Patrick?
Never. I was just going to say, I'm glad that the cops don't see me flying FPV, or I get a ticket every time. Just because I can't control the damn thing.
Yeah, I do all kind of flips myself.
Yeah, unintentionally.
With the little tiny hawk. I tell you what, I got the tiny hawk doing things it's never done. But it's an interesting conversation. I feel sorry, that it had to happen to Paul, but man, it's very unfortunate. But hey,
Mike's
looking forward to seeing the Avata
train. If he wasn't around people or boats 25 feet, he doesn't have a problem. He's absolutely right.
To me, the most unfortunate thing is it's a summons, and he has to appear in court or he has to have representation, as Dre was speaking about. And if it hadn't have been that severe of a charge, he could have just paid it and moved on, unless he wanted to fight it.
Yeah, it'd have been better if he'd have just got a ticket,
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
That way he could just pay it and go on about it.
Move on, right.
And then, because there's a whole lot of worms here that you want to open. I mean, that,
right. The Part 107 is a big one, right? If he's posting videos and
you might, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that, I think we're jumping way ahead, but, I just think that if he I'm kind of like him, he's going to have to go up and probably get slapped on the hand, I guess, or either, I don't know.
You hope.
I don't really know what would happen,
Where does he live? Where does he live at?
New Bedford, Massachusetts.
Okay, so he's got to travel back for the summons, right, or have representation.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, my cousin Vinny, he could get my cousin Vinny. Don't Vinny from New York.
The two youths.
The two youths.
I just watched part of that about a month ago. That's such funny, great.
That was a good show. I like that.
It was.
That was a good movie.
I hope they don't try to make an example out of it.
No, that's what I was thinking.
I don't think it's. I mean, the FAA knows nothing about this ticket. It's just a summons. So but it's.
Well, that brings up a good point, Johnny. Do you think the FAA is going to know about this?
I mean, unless there's no reason for them to know about that.
You would think not. You would think not.
Unless somebody had called the FAA and then they, I have no idea. Maybe
we'll
the police officer. I'm sure they have police officers on boats. So we have the wildlife and fisheries here on the river. They give DUIs for boats every day.
Right.
And they'll be.
I have to say though, if the police officer really didn't know what to charge him with, and he had to look it up, and he had to call a supervisor, there's something wrong there. And I would think he's got a real good shot at an attorney getting it dismissed.
Yeah, that just all comes with the cost of money and time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately. Yeah, all we do is hope that he can get out of it.
What's everybody got planned for today? Any flying? Brad, you doing any flying today?
Draining the oil in my car.
That don't take but a few minutes.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
I got to get my little Honda's oil changed. Anyway, might throw the drone up in the air. It's not supposed to rain. Maybe a little bit of a chance today here, but it's beautiful weather here in Richmond, Virginia. So.
Hey, look, guys, hold your phones up right here and scan this, and y'all.
Yeah, right. That's cool. I like that yellow. I got a blue one and a red one.
Yep. So, Garrett, we were talking. You were asking about that earlier. So, Robbie, Travel Tech 360, he's 3D printing these, and they have a chip inside of them that he programs. It's a proximity type thing where if you put this up close to your phone or some type of other device, like I think tablets can do it as well, but I think it's more phones, it will scan it and it will go directly to a web page that he's pre-programmed in.
Yeah. I do want to say I got Adrian and Uncle Bill in the back room. I'm not ignoring y'all. I just don't have spots. But
no, you can send me out because I'm going to go fly, Johnny. Yeah, I'm going to go fly down to Port Jefferson and get some shots of the ferry.
Have it fly safe,
all right,
Ray.
Guys. Have a good one.
Ray. Thanks, Ray.
All right, jump off as well. Give somebody else some time. So, you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll chat again.
All right, thanks, Patrick.
See you, Patrick.
Hey, Patrick.
See you later.
Oop.
Wow. Speeding ticket, Johnny. How do you explain that one to your wife?
Bill, wake up, Bill.
Uncle Bill.
Hey.
Morning, Bill. Good morning.
Hey, I was content listening in the background there. I don't think that ticket's going to stand. By the way.
Hopefully not.
No, I doubt that they even have laws in that town that even.
Well, it could go either way, right? Like what you were saying, John. I mean, or somebody said, it could make an example of him. I don't know. Maybe not. You hope not.
Adrian.
Adrian, good morning.
Hey, good morning, fellas.
Oh, look at that little cutie.
Oh,
thank you. Now, well, yeah, Johnny, as I heard you earlier, while I was messing with Ding Dong over here, that won't leave me alone. Yeah, that was actually crazy, like you guys were discussing. I discussed last night on my show.
Yeah.
I've never heard of anybody actually getting anything of the sort. So we were all trying to tell him, that I think he needs to go ahead and fight it, but he's really adamant saying that he's not coming back. He's just gonna not do nothing about it. And I hope that's not the case.
Well, I think he was thinking it was more of a ticket, but it's not a ticket, so it's a big difference.
No, he has to go to court. There's a court date.
Right. Or have someone to represent him.
Kai's got a good point there. I mean, they just didn't know what to charge him with exactly, so they're going to go to court and sort it out. That might be true.
Wow. That's crazy.
It is.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Paul because he's such a good flyer and he doesn't get in trouble.
The thing is, Brad, and everybody in the panel and everybody in the chat, when he actually said that in the chat, I thought he was actually joking because at the end he put LVL. I thought he was going to say LOL, but then he was saying, "No, I'm serious." That he wanted me to invite him so he could talk about it. That's when he showed everybody that he did get
All right, Kai, thanks for hopping in this morning, Kai.
Yep, Kai, have a good day, brother.
Yeah, I saw when he typed it, and Adrian goes, I think you said something about somebody.
Yeah, I thought it was a joke. Is this a joke? Or are you for real?
Yeah. Well, that we hear about these stories from time to time, and sometimes it happens to be somebody that probably doesn't deserve it, and who knows? I mean, the police officer did not know what to charge him with, so I don't know. They got a little out of hand, and maybe one of the boaters. We just don't know. We won't know the backstory for a little bit.
And that is true, Brad. Maybe somebody, he was just flying. Maybe somebody they went ahead and called the police and reported it. You know what I mean?
I mean, he could have been 300 feet above the boat, and somebody got scared that maybe at 300 feet the drone will fall out of the sky.
You see what I mean? It could be anything. We weren't there, to make any assumptions, but
right.
Something had to happen for for that to get like that. So.
Yeah. Well, again, hopefully it wasn't what somebody said earlier, is that he buzzed the police boat, so that that could stir things up,
Bill.
Exactly. And the thing is, Johnny, that thing at 90 miles an hour, that's a deadly missile. You could literally hurt somebody pretty bad.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
And that drone is pretty heavy already.
No, I agree. Look, Maddie's crashed his at I think somewhere in a parking lot somewhere. So but hey, you know what? I think we'll just see what happens.
I mean, I've seen that DJI drone flying. When it's going 70, 80, 90 miles an hour, it's aggressive. That's aggressive. It's fast as hell.
It's fast.
And it's scary. It's a little scary when it buzzes by you. I mean, I was at the South Florida drone. Yeah, it's just a little. I saw
it hit the water at 90 miles an hour.
That's true. That was last year. Yeah, it's a little scary even to us drone pilots. But if you're in control of it, we know probably Paul was in control of his craft, but we just don't know the whole story.
Mr. John, thanks. John, Flying Flynn, thanks. Have a great day. Hope get out there and fly and be safe. Charles Hatmaker, welcome in.
You, John.
Droning. So, Joe, what you got planned today? You doing some flying?
Yeah. I finally got a day off. I've been working on this bathroom remodel for a few weeks, and I think I'm gonna fly today. Yeah, I'll probably try to get back on my 3-pack a day habit.
Yeah, there you go.
They have meetings for that, right?
Yeah, this is one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. This is a live one right now, right? This is an intervention, by the way.
And I fly 3 packs a day.
Hey, Bill, I need that little thing you're giving away tonight. Just saying, I mean, not trying to tilt the scales or anything,
You guys missed the opportunity. You're supposed to all say, "Hi, Joe."
That's right. I didn't want to interrupt again.
Adrian, you doing some flying today?
Definitely. I need to go ahead. I got the Phantom 4 Pro that I barely touched. So I need to go ahead and get my first Maiden Flight on it.
You need to order that Mini 3 so you have the whole
all that good
complete
stuff.
set.
And then I gotta go ahead and mess with the other batteries. Hopefully the other ones will actually work properly. I already returned 2 back to Walmart, so we'll see what's gonna happen.
Hey, Joe, I'm ready to buy your FPV.
You bought a third-party battery or something, I saw?
Yeah, I bought a batch of 9 batteries for that Phantom 4 Pro from Walmart. And on the damn thing, it says DJI, you know what I mean, OEM. So when I get them, they're not true DJI. They actually that third-party BS. There's no DJI logo on it. There's no DJI Phantom logo on it. There's nothing. It just and then
Best Buy was selling it as an OEM.
So what now?
Now Best Buy, you bought it at Best Buy and it said OEM battery on the pack.
Yeah, DJI OEM battery. Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. That's bad representation for a big box company like that.
When I got in, Brad, if you actually own one, if you see it, you know what I mean. You can see the cells through the little holes. You know what I mean. This one is only at the bottom, like you only have this much. Everything else look just hollow, you know, and it's really not that heavy. So, and when you put it in the drone, it just be wobbling everywhere to the point that you pull it out by barely, you know, making any, you know what I mean, pinching it that hard.
Yeah, that's not good.
So I returned 2. So far, I'm still keeping 7 to check them out and see how they work. If not, I'm just gonna take them back.
Hey, so who's your visual observer there, Bill? Somebody, you got to have a visual. You got to have a visual.
I got 6 of them plus the people in the chat, right?
That's true. That's true.
What they were afraid of. There's aliens. There's aliens for life. And that's what they're scared of, right there.
Stu is his
observer. Hey, I'm going to drop, guys. I haven't got my walk-in today yet. I'm going to go ahead and drop. It's good seeing everybody. Great conversation this morning.
We're gonna actually hop off here. Been on over an hour and 20 minutes. And Bill, what you got tonight? I know you got your show. Tell us a little bit about it.
Couple things today. Today I'm going to be with little Laura Lama again. You know, to help host in the trivia games. You know, the You Don't Know Jack games, which is fun. That's this afternoon at 3:00 Eastern, 8:00 her time. And we're going to tonight at 10:00. I got my show, my stream, Hangar Talk, and tonight little special thing we're going to be giving away because of a very generous donation from us. We're going to be giving.
I thought you had it. I thought you had it right there.
Oh, well, I can though. We'll give it away. Let's keep
one Harley Davidson Ultra Glide.
Oh, hey, here it is. The DJI OM5, brand new in the $50 item. And like I said, her Alexa donated this and a DJI tag around the bag. I got to have 30. She said, "Well, we want to grow your channel," which is nice of her. I mean, I really haven't tried to. I just get together with a bunch of other guys and drink. But anyway, but she said 35. We need 35 people in, and we can do it. Done it before, but it's just tough because it's Sunday, on a work night, Monday morning.
We'll all join, and we'll thank you for that. And all right, Gary, thanks for hopping in. Joe, thanks. Adrian,
yes, sir.
Have a great day and get out there and fly. Be safe, guys.
Y'all have a good
Don't fly reckless like Uncle Bill Floyd. You don't want to get another Sunday report. Don't do it.
Everybody know, real quick, a lot of guys don't ship outside the U.S. Since I got that product for free, if it's outside the U.S., I'll ship it anyway.
Oh, good deal.
Or he'll boot your name off now. It's good.
If it gets to be more money, then I'll just buy it from DJI, send it to him, and I'll keep it for myself.
Yeah, you could drop ship it to him. All right, guys, have a great Sunday. Thanks, everybody.
See you later.